Hey, welcome. So today we're going to unpack a really fascinating blueprint for transformation. It's the story of how the SNS institutions went from this state of, chaotic energy to one of focused, intentional creation. We're going to walk through the roadmap, the actual plan that guided this incredible journey.
And this quote right here, it gets straight to the heart of it all. This wasn't just some corporate talk about strategy or metrics. No, they framed it as a human story. It's about having a shared purpose, the grit to stick with it, and most importantly, it's about the people who made the change happen.
So here's the game plan for how we'll break down their journey. We're going to start by setting the scene, then explore the design thinking mindset that really sparked the whole thing. After that, we'll see how they built the culture and the support systems, and finally, we'll look at how they're using AI to take this massive leap into a really ambitious future.
All right, first up, from chaos to creation. Every great transformation story has to start somewhere, usually with a challenge. That moment where you realize the old way just isn't cutting it anymore. And that was the starting line for SNS. Okay, check this out. This comparison really lays it all out, the before and the after. They started with a culture that had a lot of friction, a lot of raw energy, but not a lot of direction. The goal? To move towards a place driven by purpose, defined by real innovation. So the million-dollar question was, how on earth do you bridge that gap?
Well, a shift this big doesn't just happen by magic, right? It all started with a spark, a totally new way of thinking that ended up reshaping, well, everything.
And that spark was something called design thinking. Now, this isn't just about making things look pretty, it's way deeper than that. It's a process that's all about people. You use empathy to figure out what people actually need, and then you use creativity and logic to build solutions that matter. For SNS, this became their new core operating system.
And here's how it works in the real world. It's a pretty powerful three-step loop. You start with the challenge, that initial chaos we talked about. Then you bring in the method, the design thinking process. And the outcome? It's not just a quick fix. It's about creating solutions that are genuinely innovative and actually make an impact. But look, you can have the most powerful mindset in the world, but it can't just exist in a vacuum. A great idea needs a strong culture to keep it going. And that brings us to the human framework SNS built to really bring their vision to life. They came up with this really fascinating dual framework. On one side, you've got the 3P model. That's purpose, process, and people, which they call the heart. This gives you the why. Then on the other side, you have the 3C model, attitude, skill, and knowledge, which is the mind. That's the how. You put the heart and the mind together, and you create people who aren't just capable, but are deeply motivated too. Okay, so we've got the mindset and we've got the cultural framework. Now let's go to the next layer, the actual structure. This is how all those ideas become a living, breathing reality. It's the ecosystem they built for growth. And these 5 pillars are basically the beams holding the whole thing up. They created these dedicated centers for everything, from teaching and learning to sparking new ideas in the Center for Creativity, all the way to building career skills and connecting with industry. This isn't just theory. It's a dedicated infrastructure designed for growth. And that brings us right up to today. With this rock-solid foundation in place, SNS is now looking to the future. And they're embracing technology not just as some tool, but as a catalyst to seriously accelerate their mission. And you can see exactly what they're focused on. They're not just talking about AI, they're actively enabling it across the board with Gen AI initiatives. They're also forging even deeper ties with industry through these specialized clubs and are laser-focused on producing certified talent that's ready to hit the ground running.
So you might be asking, where is all of this going? The mindset, the culture, the pillars, the tech, it's all building towards a final and frankly, incredibly ambitious quest. This is the ultimate goal of their entire journey from chaos to creation.
1,000. Just let that number sink in for a second. What could that possibly be? It's not a budget, it's not a headcount, it's a goal, a massive, absolutely audacious goal. And here it is, the 1,000 AI Startups mission. This is a total game changer. It means their goal isn't just about education anymore. It's a bold 10-year vision to become a full-blown engine for innovation, creating a whole new generation of entrepreneurs who are going to build the future. And this final quote just ties the entire story together perfectly. It connects the very beginning to the very end. See, design thinking gives them the smart, human-centered approach. And AI? That's the rocket fuel that lets them scale up and makes a goal this huge feel not just like a wild dream, but like something they can actually achieve.
So, to wrap it all up, this is basically their secret sauce. It all starts with that core mindset of design thinking that's then nurtured by the 3P and 3C culture, which is supported by those 5 structural pillars. And finally, the whole thing gets accelerated into the future with AI. See how each piece just systematically builds on the last?
And that brings us to a final thought. The SNS story is such a powerful blueprint for making intentional change. It kind of makes you wonder, right? Whether it's in your career, on a project, or even in your personal life, what does the roadmap for your own journey from chaos to creation look like? Thanks for joining this explainer.